Let's bring in on this broadcast now Deepak Reddy Gunapati of the TDP of the Telugu Desam Party. We also have Karthik Yellapragada, spokesperson of the YSRCP. Thank you both very much for your time. Good evening. Karthik, I'd like to begin with you. Serious allegations that you've leveled that this is the TDP that's resorted to vandalizing the residence of one of your leaders. What's the evidence the YSRCP has to point fingers at the Telugu Desam Party?
Well, that's very evident, right, Akshita? And that is a clear instruction from the TDP office to get that whole thing vandalized. And we're talking about a woman. Let's not forget the mother of the ex-MLA was also in the home when this whole thing was happening. And she's like really scared when the whole thing is happening. The point here is the state of Andhra Pradesh is now on national news all the time, all these days, with a lot of violence and political vendetta. The question is, why is that happening just in the last few months? What did change? The change is the governance. And we actually see a lot of political vendetta in the same journalist fraternity as you do, Akshita. There were 63 cases that got filed against the reporters. 11 were actually beaten. The SC/ST atrocities that are happening in the state. Why the state is coming all the time into national media with just this political vendetta news? We didn't see this earlier. And this is scary in the state now. And and then if this misogynism is a thing, I think TDP has a patent for that. They were abusing the honorable leader of us, Mr. Jagan Mohan Reddy's wife, on camera. And not just that, Roja, who happens to be our honorable MLA, they were speaking as if, I just don't want to say that on record. All the derogatory comments that any woman can never listen.
But two wrongs
This is
don't make
something.
a right, Karthik Garu. What has been said right now is also very, very objectionable and unacceptable.
We are not endorsing that, Akshita, at the same time. Let the judicial process kick in. Who has given them the right to enter their home and vandalize the whole home? And his own mother was sitting there in the home. She's like 78 years of old in age. Why are we not talking about that violence deliberately made in the broad daylight or in the evening? No one is
Okay.
talking about it. And then how many cases? 2,466 cases, Akshita, on record. What has been filed against YSRCP supporters? About 300 murders, 198 women cases. Why all of this is happening just in the past few
Okay.
months? That
So
is
let
the
me get in,
debate
let me bring
that,
in
that
the
nation
TDP
should talk
also.
about.
Let me give a chance to also Deepak Reddy Garu to make his opening comments on this. Deepak Garu, what do you have to say to the YSRCP's allegation that this is the TDP going after its opposition, going after the YSRCP?
Very good evening, ma'am. This is another attempt by YCP just to, make themselves feel relevant. The people of Andhra Pradesh haven't even given them an opposition status looking at the 5 years of rule what they had. Let me be very frank. I was a legislator during Jagan Mohan Reddy's 5-year tenure. What is happening now in Andhra Pradesh, even if you are absolutely liberal, it is not even 1% of what these people have done earlier. Every woman leader belonging to Telugu Desam Party was in tears in the 5 years of Jagan Mohan Reddy's government because they would brutally attack a character of all our women leaders in TDP. You can see what kind of a posts were put in the last 5 years. And similarly, what happened in this particular incident is this former MLA comes out and says, the leader was an MLA and her husband is an MP, saying that the wife is going to kill her own husband in the night for money. And the next thing is, brutally, he started talking about her character. So this level they have stooped down to. So at such cheap levels, I don't think a single woman would ever come into politics also. So here the question is not violence. It is the question that we have to respect our women. This is exactly what our chief minister has been telling for the last 2 months. We are not going to tolerate such kind of a derogatory comments on any woman in the state of Andhra Pradesh. And similarly, Lokesh ji also has condemned such kind of acts in n number of incidents. This is not
No,
just
so
one,
let's
ma'am.
get this
You
out
can
of the
see
way.
hundreds of
Karthik,
incidents
very
have taken
clearly,
place.
when these kind of comments are made, and you've listed instances where you've claimed that TDP also has done this, but like I said, two wrongs don't make a right. Is there a clear apology from the YSRCP for the kind of words that were used by your leader?
YSRCP is the
The
one
question here
which is
is
behind
the
this, ma'am.
question
It is
here is
behind this.
about the Mr. Deepak, please. The question here is about violence, Akshita. The question here is about the Red Book constitution that is happening in the state. As we said, we don't endorse any sort of violence. That's on record.
No,
But
we'll talk
as I
about that.
said,
I'm 100% going to talk about that. But let's focus on my question right now about the comment that was made by Prasanna Reddy against Prashanthi Reddy. Is that something the YSRCP is okay with? If not, why haven't you asked the leader to apologize? Why hasn't the YSRCP put out a statement saying it's unacceptable, the words he's used?
the point here is, as I said, we don't endorse any such violence or such misogynist remarks. That's on
Then why don't
record.
you condemn
But
it?
then
Why don't
there
you
were
condemn
n
it?
number of instances. There were n number of instances that has happened where never ever TDP has come forward. Where the Honorable Chief Minister's wife is also dragged into stoop low comments on record by the media channels owned by TDP and IDDP. You know, and as I said, there were n instances people were like Roja were all dragged into as stoop low as possible. The point here is they were always attacking in terms of the credibility of a woman in the state. You know, they hear the question again is about why in the past couple of months we have repeatedly getting into the national level just on the violence. This never happened in the state of Andhra Pradesh. This is all for the wrong reasons we are representing into the national media now. Why? The question is that. The
Okay,
question
I'll
is
come to
that.
violence. I'll come to violence.
Truth is a very big casualty here. Truth is a very big casualty
No,
here.
Deepak Garu, first, let me, just kind of break this down. First, to the allegation from the YSRCP that TDP also is a habitual offender when it comes to insulting and targeting women, and he's given you instances.
Absolutely
On record,
false.
Akshita.
This is just a pretext to divert from this subject, ma'am. In fact, our Home Minister is a Dalit lady, and she was on air not once, multiple times in tears with the way she was trolled and the way she was attacked and the way comments were being put out by YCP leaders. So this is not just one case. You can dig into the media reports itself. Not one. Every woman leader belonging to Telugu Desam in the last 5 years, they were on air in tears with the way the YCP leaders were commenting on them, attacking them on social media. So this is not just a one-off incident. This is a regular practice by the YSRCP party. And here the question is, even till now, they don't come and condemn the comments which has happened in this latest incident,
The
rather
point,
than
Mr.
talking about
Deepak,
the
the
violence.
point,
And let me
it's
be
not
frank,
about diversion, Mr.
Okay,
Deepak.
Karthik, I'll come to you. Hold on.
This gentleman representing YCP is a fresh face from the last 1 month. He was not in Andhra Pradesh when the YCP government was ruling,
Let's
and
talk
he's a
about real
non-resident
problems.
Telugu. He's non-resident Telugu living somewhere in Hyderabad. He has no clue about what is going on in Andhra Pradesh.
No.
So
One
he's
second.
just a
Karthik,
mouthpiece
quick
on behalf
response
of
from you, and then I'm
YCP
going to
who comes and
focus
talks
on the
this way.
vandalism, the violence. Karthik, quick response.
Let's get back to the point. They couldn't face me, and they're actually allegating. The point here is even India Today is in Delhi. Doesn't give the fact that they don't talk about Andhra Pradesh. No, let's not go into personal aspects, Mr. Deepak. The point here is, on record, there were instances where TDP-led
See,
channels
the
have
point here is, please talk the truth. Please talk
deliberately,
the truth.
con-
Don't be a paid mic and then
deliberately
talk only false
derogating,
Just
facts.
hold on,
derogating
please,
Please
our
one
talk
at a
facts.
time. One at a time, Mr. Deepak, I'll give you your time. Let Karthik make his point.
Point is repeatedly derogating our honorable, leader's wife, Roja, and many other leaders, even Mr. Murthy, who happens to be a TDP leader. They have gone to stoop low where I can't even refer on this national media what those people have said to the women leaders of our party. And even in the recent past, Akshita, an SC lady is tied to a rope. I mean, tied to a tree with a rope. And we as a social media got so active, and then the Human Rights Commission has actually come and play. And after that, we see that Home Minister is coming out and giving a response. So,
Okay.
such incidents are repeatedly happening in the state, Akshita. The question is why Andhra Pradesh is coming into news for all the bad reasons to the national
Okay,
level
let's
just in
focus.
the
Let's
past few
talk about
months.
the violence. Let's talk about the violence that broke out at a YSRCP leader's house. Deepak Garu, your response to that particularly, to the vandalism that's been reported at his house. Look, what he said is condemnable. But surely we're not going to endorse violence and vandalism of this kind.
Absolutely, ma'am. In fact, in another incident which took place on a Dalit Sarpanch, although it was nothing to do with the party, the three who were linked with that were arrested within immediately. So even in this case, the former MLA himself said the minute he called the DSP, a lady, she came running to the spot immediately. So that is how quick the government and the police responded in this case also. We don't endorse any type of violence, but the fact here is women in politics have to be respected. You cannot continuously, pass derogatory comments on them and attack their character.
No, agreed. But I hope, making that an excuse
This is
to
the
kind of
issue
say
here.
that, this kind of violence and vandalism is also okay, Mr. Deepak Reddy, because the YSRCP is saying that the TDP was involved in this vandalism and violence. Have they been identified?
Yeah, ma'am, let me make one thing very clear. Not just a spokesman, I am a zonal coordinator heading a zone in Andhra Pradesh. I know all our MLAs have been continuously asking us about the past mistakes which YCP has done, and they want to file cases and attack them legally. But our government has not given them a green signal. We are focusing only on development and the welfare of the people. So that is the style of functioning of our chief minister. So here, YCP comes up with these stories just to make themselves relevant and just to say that they're still afloat in politics because they don't even have opposition status in Andhra Pradesh. The fact is, even now, they haven't come out and condemned the bad comments which are continuously being leveled against ladies in politics in Andhra Pradesh. So we are absolutely clear. We don't support violence, but our chief minister and Lokesh ji have clearly said the honor of women in politics will be upkept. And it is the responsibility
Karthik,
of
your
the government.
response. The TDP saying, they have a no-nonsense approach when it comes to this kind of violence.
Neither do we, Akshita. And we don't want any political discourse from TDP on that matter. If our sources are right, Mr. Lokesh was also in the same district when the attack was happening, by the way. If really they have any chastity towards women, we actually want them to discourage and again prove that TDP is more interested in drama than dignity. The point here is, please, let's not get into a nation level for all the bad reasons. Rule properly. Prefer sensitivity over sensationalism. Why there were 2,500 cases, 720 just on social media, Akshita. 720 cases just on social media. Your journalist fraternity, 63 people were booked, 11 people were beaten. 300 murders, 198 women on
No,
record.
Karthik, I'm going to go
on
back to
record,
the
Akshita.
question I asked you
That's on
earlier,
record.
which is what is the evidence? I agree, this kind of a crackdown is unprecedented, but it's not something we haven't seen before. Unfortunately, the reality is journalists are targeted by every government. But Karthik, what is the evidence that, that on basis of which the YSRCP has said the TDP is involved in the vandalism?
Akshita, if you spend just 5 minutes looking at Prashanthi's statement in the past 1-2 days, she comes out and tells that, no, we don't know who are they. Again, she comes and tells that we know who are they and we telephoned and then not to do such things. And again, she changes her words. Even if you spend 5 minutes on what she spoke, there is a mere contradiction in the way she's actually setting up the narrative, where even an elementary school kid would understand that this is a coordinated TDP attack on the house of our honorable MLA. And again, Akshita, in the same district, never ever, there has been such a violence. There has been such a violence in that
Mr. Deepak,
district,
I'll give you a
Akshita.
chance to respond.
You got to allow me, Mr. Deepak.
Just hold
Mr.
on, please.
Deepak, you
Hold
got
on,
to
sir.
allow me to
Let
speak.
Karthik finish and then I'll come to you. Deepak Garu, just hold on.
Mr.
Karthik,
Deepak,
finish
please
your point.
hold on. You got to allow me to speak. So in that district, it's always for dignity. We have never seen such an incident happening. You can check the records. And this person happens to be 5-6 times MLA. His father was a minister, and they actually hold a legacy. And we have never seen a history like this. Why in 2025 such things are happening? What did change? The governance got changed. And I want to let Mr. Deepak know, it's not about opposition. We still have 40% rock solid vote share, which can't be tampered. And again, twisting your arm, Mr. Deepak, in 2029 election is not very far because of the atrocities that you're doing to the state of Andhra Pradesh.
Okay,
This is on record.
Deepak Reddy, quickly your comment, because I'll have to wrap this up then. What is the action? You say violence is condemnable. What is the action that the government has taken to identify the people behind this vandalism? What action has been taken against them?
Ma'am, YCP spokesperson stands totally exposed because the former MLA himself came on air today And he said, the minute I came to know about it, I called the DSP, which was a lady DSP officer, and she immediately rushed to the spot. So if we were involved, the DSP would not have come to the site. So it's very evident that we had nothing to do with it. And what is being peddled by YCP is false, because their former MLA himself has come on air and said that. So here the point is, the spokesperson of YCP doesn't live in Andhra Pradesh. He has absolute no knowledge about the facts which are going on the field, other than reading the note which is sent by his party and try to protect his party without any basis. The fact of the matter is,
This is,
kind
I
of an
should say,
No,
this is such a
let's stay
such
away.
a
Let's
bad
stay
logic.
away from,
This is such a bad
personal
logic that
comments.
you're
Let's stay away from
stated
personal
that
comments,
700
Mr.
cases
Deepak
are
Reddy.
being
Let's
booked on
talk about the
social
issue
media.
at hand
So
here.
that was the level of comments which the YCP leaders were putting out derogatory
Okay,
on
this
women.
is descending. This
question
is
what
descending
Akshita
into a
asked
political
is,
back and
Mr.
forth, which
Deepak,
wasn't the intention here. It was to get, hopefully, a message of condemnation from both the TDP and YSRCP. The one, misogynistic comments are not okay, and neither is violence and vandalism. Ideally, we should be all on the same page on that, and that's where I'd like to leave it. Thank you very much to both the TDP and YSRCP, to Deepak Reddy as well as Karthik for joining us here on India Today.